ランブルオリアナに行こう。
Well, there's your first answer. Kalista going to be picked up here. The Ashe was banned out earlier this
カ
time
リスタ、
around.
トレイシアさ
Now
ん、
the
こんに
question
ちはで
is,
す。
does
どうも。
Malphite Jace go to T1? Are they going to be interested in taking that? Rel was actually passed over. It's such a big one for owner. There is obviously answers that they could go towards, like the Senate
カリスタ取り上げました、ウェイボ。
lanes that we've seen with Caitlyn and Varus as well.
Also, wonder if they want to pick up the Aatrox here or go for the counter pick again. Zeus was such a big part of what made the previous game work.
レナータ取っていきますか。カリスタレナータでさっき T1 は取ってました。
Deny Chris, the champion I think he's looked the most impressive on, as well as deny specific that Kalista Renata combo that has been so successful. Even so at last game.
レナータ13勝3敗。
But it wasn't like they completely blew
ド
out
レ
the
ー
lane.
ブン
But in
ま
mid
た
game
しかにレナータと相性いいです。
becomes incredibly hard. And we'll see what other answer is going to get picked up here.
確かに相性いいけど。
Owner on his Rel, try to pick it up maybe in third rotation. And this
誰
is
見せピックは多分してないです。
Draven, a champion that he debuted on as well.
ドレーブン出
Extremely
します
aggressive
か。
and really strong into the Kalista.
This is
結
one
構
of
な
the
リス
many
クあるチャン
problems
ピ
you
オンで
have
すけど。
about dealing with T1 on red side. You go for close to first picks and then that
ロ
does
シアが
have a
有
lot of
利。
lane
ちょっ
power.
と
One of the
わかり
only
ません、
ADs
全
that
然。
can really fight fire with fire down there
おじさんではないです
is
ね、
the
僕。
Draven. I would like
お兄さん
the
です。
Senna again though. I think for Crisp, it's a strong laner. We've seen this actually work pretty well in
カリ
the
スタ
past
セナ。
also. But this is a tough lane to deal with, and have to see if Crisp is confident to go for it.
It is going to be locked in here, so the final pick on the blue side here rests in Xiaohu's hands. Could be full Shadow Isles with a Maokai lock in here, but I don't know whether you're necessarily super excited about seeing a
セナ
Maokai.
結構勝率いいな、6勝3敗。
Kind of expect a
思っ
jungler
たより勝
just
って
to
る。
keep these solo lanes a little bit more up in the air, unless they just want to
若
grab the
者なんで
Aatrox
す
and
ね、
make sure
じ
that
じい
can't
と
be
言われようと
dead
も。
away. This is going to be the 3-piece
その
Shadow
事
Isles with
実で
Maokai locked.
事
And
実は
specifically
覆
Wei
らない。
obviously
な
had
んと
an
言われ
amazing
よう
game.
と。
Wasn't enough, but his early ganks were really good. And if the team didn't fall behind the way that they did, might have been able to set up objectives the way we've seen Maokai do really since last year at Worlds. Champion has been around for a while now. Now T1 can either try and secure owner his Rel if he wants to go in that direction. Poppy's another that we know he loves, and Poppy
これ
into
でも
Kalista
T1 がレッドサイ
specifically,
ドだと
I think is a really
どうあがい
good
てもゼウスがラストピック取れるからザシャイン先出しで何出すんだろうな。
Really, really strong to be able to have that counter engage.
フェイトはさ先出しでサイラスです。
Senna ult has some value for cross map as well, so definitely a strong angle and also a pretty good
事
denial
実
pick
じゃあ
for
り
some
ま
of the
せん。
things that you might expect
若い
them
っ
to
て
go
言ってる
towards.
だろ。
And also, it does mean that T1 is now forced to ban away. Blind Silence can obviously be punished. The Jace, I think Zhao actually had a great game on the Jace last time around. They were able to play out and
サイラスはアーマーがとても低いチャンピオン。
mattering when we got to the fights. But T1 gonna try and make sure that Faker does actually get through the lane. Last time around, we saw Weibo target owner, and I think they're gonna try again. Even though it didn't work out, his league was still incredible. Poppy and Rel, to me, are no brain bans here.
Yep, the Sejuani will still be up and available though, and Permafrost value alongside a Silas in the mid lane can definitely be very, very scary, augmented by Zeus picking up something pretty strong, Bruisery on the top side.
Exactly, and almost guaranteed you think Zeus is going to play one of those types of champions. It's going to be an Aatrox, Orione, or something along those lines. That could be a strong pairing, so
トップバン続いてます。
I'm almost more afraid of the Sejuani from
ヨ
this
ネ消
fighter,
しま
even
し
though
た
I
ね。さっき
associate
の試合すごかったもんな、ヨネ。
much more with the Rel.
Pick your poison and they said no.
30分で4コアできてたし、レイトロックスが2コアに対して。
So we'll see whether it is going to be the Rel or the Sejuani.
Yeah, this is
ヨネ消しました。カウンターチャンピオンいないここの最強チャンプには。そしてノクターン。
Denying some of the ability, I think, of the Shy to play through side lanes. Potentially, you're worried about some sort of side lane picks, some ability to 1-3-1. This really makes that difficult. And it also, if you have a flanking pick coming from Zeus, some sort of a dive buddy there alongside Faker and it could be really tough.
相手何も分かりませんよ、状況は。
And then potentially have Zeus coming in on the flank.
そしてヨネをバーンしたから今度こそエイトロックスと。
consistent issues is that you want to try and get a strong bot lane, which they did, even though obviously the Renata and the Draven are quite strong. But it means that then you have to deal with Zeus getting counter pick, right? And Zeus, his Yone has been taken away. We'll see what else he can bring out against the Aatrox here.
1年前によく見ました。このマッチアップミッドレーン。グエン。あれ、グエンかなり勝率低かったと思いますよ。大体。結構、カサンベとかエイトロックスに対して出されるけど、試合には勝てないっていうパターンが。
This is really, really fun. Zeus
really
finding fire there towards that top side once again into the Shy Aatrox.
It's going to be interesting. We haven't really seen Gwen do that well at Worlds, to be honest, because it's one of these picks that takes a long time to turn on.
去年の決勝でゼウスが金元のエイトロックスにグエン出してソロキルされてたのは覚えてます。
Because this Gwen is going to need a couple items before you really start to outshine what the Aatrox can do. That being said, if they can get to that point,
あの頃よりはエイトロックスのパワーは落ちてはいると思うんですけれども。
Those side lanes so heavily with the Nocturne as well, and you do have that flanking top laner that I was talking about as the final piece, Stolen Maokai. You have the hostile takeover, you have the Nocturnal, you have a flanking Gwen. All of this being thrown at you with the lights turned off is so hard to deal with.
And my expectation as well is that with a lot of attention should go again towards the bot lane. We'll see how the Shy can recuperate after a pretty rough game one.
Exactly right, but fist bumps have come out between our coaches. It is time to get onto the rift for game number 2. There is match point on the line for T1, and Weibo could bring us to a best of 3 here at Worlds 2023. And I think everyone is aligned in just wanting as many games as possible here in this final. The last couple of years have been pretty good as far as games in the finals are concerned. And so hopefully they can bring us to one of those, even if it could bring some heart attacks here to the Gochok Skydome. I imagine that it could be a difficult time.
まあでもトップレーン、ザシャが苦しんでますね。先出し2試合連続ですから。
And those are the most fun and stressful.
Certainly the most stressful and the most fun. You're exactly right. Here we are into game number 2. Weibo gathering up towards this bottom side. And T1 not going to be walking too close to where all 5 members were positioned. So nothing to worry about too much. And you guys can remember, you can log into your Riot account on lolesports.com and watch Worlds Live to earn exclusive Worlds emotes and icons. And we'll see whether Weibo or T1 are going to be flexing any of those here in the game.
And you can see that side lane ward here from Weibo trying to maintain side lane advantage. They have to be winning out in this 2v2. They need to utilize that Kalista to be the one stacking dragons, much like T1 did last time. But T1 did take the time. Zeus went in, got that deep ward, so then I have full info where Weiwei is going to be starting. Is going to be looking for this top towards bot clear, because it's going to be this classic Weibo playstyle that we have seen so much of at Worlds. Focus towards bot with the Kalista. You have to have it.
Also have both junglers pathing towards the
これ魔法突入防御が低いチャンピオンに突入防御が低いチャンピオンに対して明治でロングソードを持つっていうのは2年前ショーメーカーがドゥインビーのガリオに対してやってましたね。征服者ロングソードスタートルグラでロングソードスタートするとアダプティブフォースで突入攻撃もらえるので
Yeah, it's getting spicy here early on.
レーニングのウォーターアタックがかなり強くなると。そしてお話ししてる間にドレイブンのフラッシュ落ちたんですけど、これさっきと違ってミッドレーン押し込まれます、サイラス対アーリー。フラッシュトレードしていく。確かにレーン状況的にはアーリーがずっとプッシュしないといけないから、このフラッシュトレードは美味しいか。サイラスどうせダンク食らわないからな。押し込まれて。
Big difference this time around is that Owner doesn't actually have Prio in his bot side. Last time could go very aggressive because of Zeus having the Prio.
それどうなんですかね、ロンソとドラケン。
He wants to harass, but he needs to respect that Light and Crisp have shoved in that ball wave and can rotate over at any moment's notice. And falling behind with your Nocturne early can be a bit rough.
ショーメーカーの AD ルグランはロングソードは後で撃ってました。売却してたんですけど、このアーリー。
Light just going to take this early
このアリ
recall
フリー
here
と持
as
っ
they
てるか
bounce away
ら
on bot side.
この
Chris
まま
making
EAD ピ
sure
リオド
there's
に
no
行くん
sort
で
of
す
a
か
freeze going on because Guma had to take a super early
味
base
方
and a
みんな
horrible
物理ダメージ
buy.
だけ
All
ど
he was able to get was the
いいのか
refillable on that first base. So Guma's going to be in a pretty tough spot when you compare with what Light has on the other side.
Yeah, it looks like Light pretty happy to go towards the Callista that was so incredibly effective for T1 in the last game. And once again,
ち
it's
ょ
a
っと
composition
ED
from
アーリ
T1
が
that, like
強
we've
い
been
らしい
talking
というの
about,
は
does
聞いたこ
want
と
to
あるん
have
です
these
けど、なんで
advantages
強いのかは
around the
分か
map,
ってま
does
せん
want to
僕。
get towards these
なんで
Drakes
強いんだ
trying to play for these
AD
side
レ
lanes
シオ
because
特
if
に
you
ないですよ
don't
ね。
have that tempo advantage, things can go wrong as the Shy
レシオ教の教えに反するんですけど、ビルドが。
between the two top laners, and both of these champions having a fair bit of sustain.
レシオ教の教えに逆らったビルド、本当に強いのか疑問です。
They make sure that the Ashe is taken away. I think
シーンが
Ashe
出
in
や
particular
す
can
い。
make any Callista lane really hard to
確
play
かに
out.
スキルのクールダウン
And
短いけど、
by making sure that you also deny it to Guma and Carrier who can flex it. Don't know if they actually want to opt into
いや
that.
トップのヘルスさが
But have done it of course in the past. Secure yourself a
機
good
動
early
力が
matchup.
高い。
And
機動
we'll
力
see
が
if they're
高い。
able to push it further, particularly if you can get an early kill on the Draven. Could be big as Weiwei.
Yeah,
Mess
Ward
up
is
あり
here
ま
as
すけど。
well. Zeus going to be ghosting immediately. There's a twisted advance. Zeus does create some
ま
space
あ
though
ト
on
ッ
the
プの
Bramble
カバー
side.
する
Puts
け
it,
ど倒
pushes
せ
him
ません
closer
ね。
to home. He will
無理で
have
す
to
これ
go
は。
back, and now with the ghost on cooldown, a little bit more susceptible to those ganks.
And nicely timed on the skip and slash there from
お
Zeus. Pops the ghost early, has the E
キルジ
buffer
アイ
as
ジュ
this
ス
advance
アイ
comes
スシャ
through.
ド買い
He
ま
ends
し
up
た
on
よ。
the opposite
ア
side
リ
of Weiwei, so the
シル
Bramble
ター
smash
初手。
can't knock him back. And now Owner on the invade here, trying to put on some pressure again.
Oh, that's a really high value vision cone there for Weiwei. Spots both the ward and Owner.
And look at the pickaxe advantage. So there's no way that Weiwei can fight. He hasn't based yet. Owner did go back to base, has that
いやエイト
additional
ロックス
AD.
リコールやめた。
And Weiwei knows he can't win that.
Yeah, and the whole time Faker is backing towards that top side as
ここ
well.
でリ
So
コー
they
ルと。
know they can't go and contest that Gromp. It should mean that Owner can collect himself this Wolf Camp as well.
いや
So the
オーナー
advantages
が
in the
ジャン
jungle
グルのマ
are
ッチアップ
continuing
1対
to
1
blossom here
優
for
位取れてる
T1.
か
But
ら
on the bottom side of the map, Light still holding that
敵の
advantage.
森に入ってい
Yeah,
き
it's
ま
big
す
there
ね
for
これ
T1
も
though,
グ
because
エンが
it
有利
turns
取れて
what
る
was
から
a
できる
really
と
rough play, a gank towards Zeus into a really big win. He immediately teleports back, is able to get Prio. The shot that hasn't had a window
出て
yet,
くるの
and
か
they use that to get Owner faster to his level 6 with him now having a
ちょっ
CS.
とどんな感じなのかプロが使うとどうなるのか見せてほしいですな楽しみです
So I think it is going to be static shift rush. I think this is going to be AD We've seen quite a lot of this online. This is kind of the new evolution of what we were seeing with AD LeBlanc and that sort of style. I'm not sure if he is going to go like full on AD on hit or more just that similar build where you go Shiv into Lichbane and play the Night Harvester as well. That's the most common one I've been seeing online. But obviously trying to be able to side lane and trying to be able to kind of slam home an
すごい
advantage
な
here
サイラ
as
スで
this range
CS
versus
負け
melee
てないぞ
matchup into Faker. So it's a very different style of Ahri than we just saw. And I'm excited to see it because I think this is the first pro game that I can recall
ド
seeing
レ
it
イブンはかなり苦しんでます
So interested to see what
これ
Shadow
どう
is
する
going
ん
to
だ
be
ろ
able
う
to
ボッ
get
トレ
done
ーン
on this version of the Ahri. And I
T は
have
さっき
to
と
have
全
feel
然
that
状況違いますよ
AD
さっ
variety
きは
should be
全
better
レーン
in
押し込めてたけ
lane
ど
against Faker as well.
今回はボットレーンとミッドレーンが押し込まれる側だから
But Weibo going to be able to grab themselves the
さ
first
っきみたいにスムーズな試合にはならないでしょう
Weibo is getting double duty done. They are going to be able to grab this off the back
そして
of
ド
their
レーブン
very,
が
very supreme control.
かなり不利を背負
Yeah,
っ
this
て
one
ま
goes
す
back to level 1.
どうするんだ
Light
これ
and Crisp playing it out early on very, very well. And one of the things that we
まあ
haven't
た
really
く
talked
さ
about
ん
yet,
今のうちにスタック
that
貯め
the
て
Draven can
1
struggle
キル
with
ど
is
こかで
not
拾
having
い
a
たい
jungler that
そ
can
こにかけ
enable
るし
you.
かないか
As I say, that Owner is in top.
Yeah, Zeus dashing forward. The needlework is out. Snip, snip. Going to connect,
フ
but
ラッシュ
doesn't
ある
do
け
too
ど
much. And in goes
う
Owner.
まい
The flash oh, was incredible from the Shy.
Oh.
Taken down to, oh my goodness.
うまいんですけどザ・シャイさん今から死ぬのではこれ
He's going to be excited about ganking the Shy anytime
死
soon.
にますね
Although
死にま
Zeus
す
is just going to go. That is just not fair.
That
ザ・
is
シャイ
the
さん
Shy
ちょっと
encapsulated the
苦笑い
massive
が出てました
outplay into the overstay. He has the 1v2. He likes
いや最初のダイブいなすもうまかったけどでもあの体力になっちゃうと結局もう死ぬか死ぬか帰ってウェーブ全部失うかどっちかしかないから
That is it. So
ここめちゃくちゃうまかったんですけど
gets the Q while dashing back, denies the fear.
どうしようもないこれ
Goes back in.
帰っても全部ウェーブ
Not
失う
only is
し
Zeus getting a kill, which in
何
this
か
nobody matchup is extremely rough.
何かしたかったけど
But it also means
済んでた
that
か
Owner's first ult was a success. The first ult on Nocturne is so big. He gets his early ultimate hunter stack. He gets a ton of assist golds. and that was an unforced error.
Yeah, I mean, he eat in, right? You could just stay at your tower and farm it up. He didn't want to lose the wave, but he's the one who goes aggressive. Now he's going to get zoned off the bot lane.
大丈夫。
Punishing
味
so
方を信
heavily
じるん
here.
やザシャイ。 まずいドレームにチル入っちゃうと話が違う。あ
It's the shot getting way down in this game now as Weibo have their
ドレーム結構復活ですこれ。
Zeus will not be an easy dive here. He is
結構
healthy.
復
He's got
活
the
しました。
ultimate back. They're going to look for it though.
死ぬのかこれ本当に。死ななそうだけど。グエン生き残った。これでかすぎる。ちょっとトップレーナーとしてザシャイには涙を禁じえない。これ誰のキルになるんだ。おいエクセキュートか。偉いですねこのトップレーナー。3人にダイブされてもエクセキュートで終わらせると。
Top lane didn't work, bot lane's not working. Hey, let's check out mid lane.
Worked out a little bit better here. As you can see, Ona walks away with half of his health bar. The Shy able to win out in that one. But man, that was a lot of things that happened.
いやちょっとT1ボットレーンがへこんでて神トップが揃っててボットのカバーでゼウス頼りかなと思ってたんですけどちょっとドレームにチルが入ったのが話が違いますねこれは一気に T1 が有利になりましたよ
And I think they're feeling a little bit of that sense of desperation. You lose game one, things start going bad in game two. You feel that you need to get even more. But T1 in such an incredible spot right now. And that kill for the Draven was so critical because Draven from behind is such a weak champion. But when you're able to snowball, it can really be a different story. And he's now 300-400 gold ahead of his opponent.
Yep. Exactly right.
いやトップレーンおしまいだフリーズされてますこれ微妙に触れないぞエイトロックスジャングルさん助けてくださいよもう一回行くこっちはノクターンにダイブされたんですけど敵のボットレーナー3人にももう一回ダイブされたんですけど味方が助けてくれねえな
Hasn't played it this tournament yet, though, and this is one of his favorites.
And next comes the setup for the Ocean Drake. Weibo already picked one up early, and with the Kalista, really want to try and opt into the zone. We talked about the scaling aspect between these two teams. I think that both teams have some parts that feel like they scale really well, particularly the Senna. And I think that Maokai remains very high in value just by the virtue of his ultimate. But on the flip side, particularly with Zeus already getting ahead and starting to stack his ultimate, if Weibo don't snowball objectives early, I think it's going to be such a nightmare trying to play into this T1 because they can get so much in the side, and actually becomes really hard to pick up the bottom.
And the build from Shahu, I'm finding a little bit confusing because he did start with the Kerchi shard, and now he's going into what looks like a Leandry's here.
So it looked like instead we've backed off like 5 patches or something.
I think we've seen this before. It reminds me of what Showmaker used to do. I think it was LeBlanc. It might have been Ari versus Galio, where you go fleet and early AD just to have an extra edge in lane. But it is a lot of gold that you invest. And as we can see, Faker, not even taking into account first strike gold, has been able to stay on parity on the Sylas.
Absolutely, and it's going to make it that much more difficult when you're talking about in the 5v5s.
本当だなんか仮面の素材買ってるどういうことなんだこれ序盤の冷戦のためだけにこれ買ったってことか
But it is going to be Weibo taking the second dragon here. We know it's not going to be a Chemtech Soul, so it should be a good one.
ウェイボーが先にドラゴンを取ってますねこれ取り切れるでしょうギリギリでなただウルト当たらず
Once again, it's going to be a close.
ザシャイ耐えるんだ
I could imagine
味方が頑張ってドラゴン
pretty
取ってる
upset about that. But remember, we're taking the Drake for water's sake, and there's a fight towards this top side. The Shy taken down to about 50% health. He's trying to avoid the potential needlework. There were none more remaining. Zeus is going to back away. But remember, we've teamed up with Amazon Web Services for a new campaign called Take the Drake for Water's Sake. For every Ocean Drake taken, AWS US will make a donation to water.org. That Drake was the
これはもう涙流してます世界中のトップレーナーが
Swiss stage.
And we can have it both ways. We get the Ocean Drake and
助
still
け
a
ることができ
console.
ないんですよ
Isn't it glorious?
It's beautiful.
That's absolutely fantastic. We've washed off the Chemtech
助
with
けに
the
行ったら死
ocean,
にます
and then it's now windy.
Now we're
Yeah.
enjoying ourselves in the breeze.
Oh, it's just fantastic.
Well, and Zeus from this far ahead of the Shy, Cloud Soul would be terrifying if he's going to be able to get that. It's actually so good on Gwen. Weibo are putting everything on bot side. If the Shy walks up, he
こ
can
ん
just
な
be
ことが
dead
許
again.
されていいのか
Cross gets the slow. Chain Lash is going to come down as well. Faker doing a fair bit of damage. Did invest his stolen ultimate
こ
there.
んなことが許されていいのか
Timing out relatively soon. Trying to get some value. As in goes Owner. Finds the paranoia, but you can see the Shy is going to be all right. He even gets a cheeky little shield there with the Dawning Shadow.
誰か
White
ドッ
not
グ
wanting
助
to
け
leave
て
it up to chance.
I mean, this Aatrox is going to have such a tough time. He is going for the lethality build, and he's doing it from very far behind. You know, closing in on 40 CS deficit. He is going to be obviously able to pick up some of this to even that out a little bit, but the additional kill is also in Zeus' pocket. And this is a matchup where, as the Gwen, when you get through those earlier stages, you can outscale. When you're getting towards multiple items, it just kind of gets better for you. So the Shy is going to have to turn in
1400 ゴールド
incredible
差
performance, and we can see it in the MasterCard lane economy snapshot.
トップ
It
レー
is
ン
heavily favored towards Zeus, who had a really good game one and is set up for success here in game two.
And I tell
ま
you
あ
what,
セ
if
ナ
you're a Zeus
は
fan,
同じ
you're feeling
そこの
absolutely
同士ではお
fantastic
金
that he's
稼げる
this
タイプ
kind
の
of
サポートです
performance
ね
in a final.
魂一つと
Because
壁に
he's
8
had
ゴール
big
ド手に入り
times
ま
where
す
he
か
has
ら
crumbled in the past, and so far it's been back-to-back games where he is the guy.
And this has been the story for this T1 roster. You know, they have been so close so many times. 4 times they've lost an international game 5 and not been able to claim that big title they've been chasing, but Zeus showing up so far.
Yeah, another teleport to come in here as they do manage to secure this Rift Herald. We'll see whether Weibo can get themselves out of here.
カリスタをクレンズ使いましたね
He's the only one, and now Zeus looking for the
そして
target. Faker
ワーカイのウルト
He's gonna
グエン痛すぎエイトロック
The
ス死
Shy
亡
goes down, the rest of Weibo will scatter, but they do get the objective and only lose one for now.
And Weibo gonna be happy that they, at the very least they did get the Herald, but they did have to invest a lot. Teleport used
でもエイト
by
ロックスは
T1
苦しんでるけど
outside of that,
チームは
and
ヘラルドを
Vivian's plans not too much
取りましたよ
hope on the other ends. No flash for Weiwei, no flash for Light. Those are going to be big cooldowns in the possible fight for Soul Point.
まあ
But
これ
I
トッ
think
プレ
Weibo
ーン
was
犠
gonna
牲
be
にして
looking for in about
下
2
側で頑
minutes.
張ってるか
That
ら
stolen
もう
Malchild from Faker got incredible
しょうがない
value. Weibo was kind of panicking. They had to make a run for it here. And Weibo are able to
い
secure
や
it,
ト
but
ッ
it's
プのウ
Faker
ェーブ
on
も
such
全
a
部
good
捨てて寄ってるんですけど
angle.
これ
Coming in from the top
キャノンウェーブ
tier,
捨て
able
て
to find this stolen Malchild. Weiwei uses his to just try to disengage the hostile takeover. But look at the angle here from Faker.
これ
Everyone
奪った
from
マオカイ
Weibo
のウル
set
ト
back,
強い
and
で
they're
す
trying to line up to avoid it, but the flashes have to be used.
And that is with Zhao, who doing so much heavy lifting. Keeps Keria and Guma out of the fight.
雨の
Keria
ビ
was
ルド
also
なんだこれ
unable
ステルキーアイ
to
ス
hit
シャドウ打
anyone,
ったんですけ
and
ど
he's giving me really big barrel energy with the amount of things that
どういう
haven't
こと
been able to hit. But even with that, because Zeus is already accelerated and Owner and Faker are there with him, T1 is still able to push their lead aggressively.
冷
and
静
get
のためだ
more
け
gold
にあれ
onto their
勝てたって
carries.
ことですか
Similar to how we saw last game, Zeus building.
ゴールド
he's
効 率
building more
めちゃく
towards
ちゃ
that
悪いって
side
言
lane.
うだ
He's
と
going
思うん
for
ですけど
natural second. It's not going to be
で
cosmic. It's
冷
not
静
going
の
to be
ために
Zhonya's
勝ってたんだったら
flash
CS
straight
変
up.
わらなかったし
So
な
this is going to give him so much power in those side lanes. They have Owner behind him, and they're going to
Also-
continue pressuring these side lanes constantly. When you're winning that 1v1 heavily, as long as Owner is there to back you up, you're
ロ
never
ーソ
going
で
to
止
lose
めた
the
後で売るぐらいだったら
Dustbringer
わ
is
かるん
gonna
ですけ
connect.
ど
They do have to use the ulti. That is going to do it. Dawning Shadow does fly forward there as well. And once again, they just have to get out. And I believe did
冷静のために購入したキルヒアイスシャドウ売りましたけど冷静もフェイカー CS 同じでしたからねアリと
5 seconds till the Drake spawns, and now Crisp doesn't have his ultimate, and neither does Xiaohu.
It's going to be really tough, and the flashes aren't going to be up either. You look at Light, he's not going to have his flash. He doesn't even have his cleanse yet. This feels like a really tough one for them to fight, and Zeus is going to be able to knock down this turret on the bot side,
ドラケン
get even more gold in their pockets prior to it.
ちょっとビルドに疑問は残ります
That is the first one of the game. He is looking completely unanswerable. He is so far ahead, and the majority of
残りますけれども
as a Rift
世界の
is
トッ
going
プ
to
の
pocket
プレイヤーがやっているので
immediately. That
何も言えません
should be answered, and there goes the charge.
素人目にはゴールドの効率が良くないんじゃないのかなと思いました
I mean, who's going to do stuff about this?
Yeah,
もっと有利をレーンで取る予定だったけどフェイカーがうますぎたか
some much needed gold for Weibo. Now they're going to try and contest the
サイ
Drake
ラス対
with
アー
very
リで
little vision.
CS イーブンはなかなかないぞ
Angle here as well. Crisp gonna be spotted, but he does put that ward down. That is going to get there. The Drake going down very, very low, and now the paranoia comes in.
20-30CS 差つくのが普通ですから。エイトロックス頑張ってる。涙流してたエイトロックスが。なんてコスパがいいプレイヤーなんでしょう。こんなにいじめられたのに頑張ってフロントの仕事終えまして、パッシブで585ゴールド入ったドレイブに1キル取るだけで3キル分取れちまうんだ。このチャンピオンなら大きい。
There are a couple of key ultimates that aren't there, right? You don't have the Maokai ult, rather the Senna ult, and that's such a big defensive cooldown.
クエンはエイトロックスを無視して敵のダメージディーラーを破壊しに行く。
And it's so difficult for Weibo to be able to effectively communicate how to play out this team fight. So everyone scatters, they're all flashing, every man for themselves. And when you go into that kind of fight against T1 with this composition, you are sure to always lose.
And I tell you what, I'm really enjoying the use of the paranoia as well as the hostile takeover, because something that has been difficult for a lot of our Renata players to deal with is getting in the right positions to get that ultimate off without as much notice, right? Because it's relatively telegraphed. But if the lights are all off and then this wave comes across you, it's not a lot of reaction time to deal with that if everything else is going on as well.
Additionally,
ドレイブンは安全にファームするチャンピオンだと。安全にファームしてキルが取れる時をじっくり待つんだとおっしゃってました。
Exactly right. And just quickly, win probability powered by AWS.
ドレイブンコレクターこれに T フォースとても強いビルド。
7-1 in kills, but at the beginning of the game you could see there on the graph, Weibo was certainly getting themselves into decent positions. We'll see whether they can claw some of that back. It is only a 4,000 gold lead here for T1 so far. Definitely surmountable.
And while we haven't talked as much about this, you said it, he's the richest member on T1. He's the richest person in the game now at this point, which is kind of crazy.
も実践するノーブーツ戦術。皆さん、僕が正しかったということでよろしいか。
Here's another one that Nature's Grasp. They all line up behind, but it's a decent chance to come through their hostile takeover. But some phenomenal
ドレイブンはデスをしないことが大切なチャンピオン。何でもいい、とにかくラストヒットさえ取れればお金がもらえる。オーナーさん、今大会本当に強いです。なんでこんな強いんですか。いやー、右残りで2人顔式です。あとノクターの強いところはウルトをしたら相手は1秒以内じゃないと TP を押せないところですね。 TP っていきません相手。形悪くなかったと思うんだけどな、ウェイボー。ステップでかわしていく。これ発射されたってのはかわいそうだな。締めしかなかったぞこんなの。
And the one shot from the Nocturne as well, using himself as a bullet into that backline and
3-0 ありますかこれ。
on to Xiao, who also the Dustbringer, I believe, got the
で
kill
も
in the
最後まで
first
わ
place.
からないの
So
が
this
勝負の世界
Nocturne
です
is
よ。
just massive.
And it is
アンラン戦で発射されたらフラッシュはないのに締めしかない。まあ、ドライブのフラッシュ落ちたからギリはアスカ。
And honestly, even if he dies from this position, because the carries are so fed, it's going to be worth it, right? As long as you are creating space for Guma, for Zeus, for Faker, even if it is that one-way trip here for the Nocturne, it's going to be such a value play as long as they can follow up. And T1
レース戦では間違いなく有利取ってました。カリスタのおかげでドラゴン2つ取れたと言っても過言ではない。
Your objective stacking has been stopped. It is getting close to checkmate in game number 2.
It's really hard as well, considering the fact that T1 had
ただ
already built
ドレイ
themselves
ブ
a
に
1-3-1 composition. There
1
is
キル
no
入っちゃったところで
comp in the
計
game
画
that
が
win more, right? Because you have win conditions that build upon themselves
計画が崩れる。
with a composition like this, where Zeus and Faker can get control of these side lanes all game long. Tempo, something that Weibo is going to have to really, really muscle.
Oh.
Yeah, that is a bit of item in advantage. Yeah.
And when the Shy shows up to a team fight,
グマイス
he's
さん
gonna have to be absolutely perfect to get
これ
anything done,
皆
because you are
さん
so
僕
squishy.
が
If you
正しかったという
can't
ことで
get
よ
that
ろ
first
し
kill
か
with the Dust Proc to be able to survive, you are gonna be paper.
ブーツいらないんですわ
Because
この
one
ゲ
little
ーム
CC hits you, Guma's gonna kill you
証明
instantaneously.
終了
He's
です
got zero armor, he's got zero HP
世界トッ
versus.
プの
So
ADC
this
グ
Aatrox
マイス
is
さん
gonna
が
be
証明してくれてます
really squishy.
Additionally, Weibo, after game number 1, obviously tried to pivot, tried to play much to a bot side, and even with them setting Guma up for a deficit, the main issue is just the other lane. T1 has been able to get the counter pick towards top side twice, and Weibo, you gotta imagine, if T1 is able to play it hard from
Weibo
here,
どうすんだ
have to
これ
try something else, because this blind Aatrox, even when protected with bands, just isn't working out.
And I think we have to talk about the journey that Owner has had. He is one of the players that has been so criticized throughout this year. And how good has he been in this series? How
僕
good
の
has
プレ
he
イング
been
技術
at
に
Worlds?
関係なくブーツを買わないことで1100ゴールドをコアアイテムに注ぐことができるという事実これは変わりません
At the right times. This is an owner that is playing
これによりグマイシのビルドがどんどん進んでいるという
When Owner initially looked to be his most dominant, his Lee is his most iconic champion, right? It's more the carry
実
style.
際
as
言
we
わ
get
れ
a
て
charge.
るほど悪くないですブーツ買わないの
He uses it in order
ア
to
ラームにおいて
hold his distance back again, I
サマナ
guess.
ーズリフトはちょっと僕疑問ですけど
Nothing too much more
アラームはそんなに悪くない
Stack 4 cloud
1100
drakes.
ゴールドは大きすぎる
When you
And they're
talk
going to start
about
with the second.
exactly when you talk
あの
about
デ
the
スのペナル
comfort,
ティ
the
が
ability
そ
to
んな
go
にない
towards
ルー
things
ル
like
ですか
Lee Sin,
ら
I think that has been somewhat indicative of what T1 have wanted to do.
サマナーズリフトで買わないのはすごいなと思います正
His
直
owner maybe looking for a fight.
Yeah, they find the Shy, but he just umbrally dashes over the wall. He will keep himself alive as Weibo just regrouping once again, spotting out the members of T1 moving back from that Drake. And now moving towards the Baron pit. It is 25 minutes into the game, and T1 hasn't gone for a Baron just yet. You
まあ
can
ド
see
レ
they
イブン
have
自
changed
前
a
の
little bit.
Very
MS
reserved.
アップは持ってるんですけど
They've
それにしても
really matured, you know?
The Baron's been alive for 5 minutes and they
now
haven't
they give it
started.
like 5
ただ単に
minutes.
マップを移動するスピードが遅くなるっていうの
I
もあり
think
ま
because
す
they were
し
near the Baron pit, though, they have remembered.
counts,
So I
it counts.
imagine we're going to be playing around that now.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say it counts as them
あの
starting.
今エッセンスリーダーがナウされて積めなくなったか
I
ら
don't think that that's necessarily how it works.
But it's just been so fun to watch T1 because they have been on the forefront of these meta shifts,
エッセンス
right?
リーバー
You know,
が
Keria, when it
ちょ
was
っと
this
トレン
double
ティーフォースに比べて弱くなりすぎたから
incredible.
エッセンス積めなくてマナがきつくてドレイブン無限に W 打つっていうことはできないですからマナの管理がすごい難しいんですけれども
Once again as the flash out from the Shy may not be enough. They're under the turret. Ono is taking it up. And Zayas is going to finish it. Inner turret should now be next on the clock.
And because the rest of T1 is standing
Sasha
guard,
が
Weibo can't try and
Sasha
turn the
がまたダイブされて
focus
死
towards
亡
bot into a
これ
Baron,
いじめです
so they
かも
just
しか
have
して
to watch their teammate get killed.
許せないんですけれども
And a Hex Drinker as well.
Yeah, and teleport's still available, so it was only ever going to be a 4v4
え
anyway.
デスをするのも練習の一環と拡散心で覚えましょうブーツ買ったらイージーすぎるこのゲーム
Just a nightmare for them to deal with. He has the Cosmic Drive finish now. He's so
4500
far
ゴー
ahead
ル
of
ド
the
差
pace of this game that no one can answer him. And
トッ
it's
プ
just
レ
felt
ーン
bad for Crisp. Every time he's popping a Senna ult, it's just been to watch his teammate die.
And he doesn't even get to watch because the lights are out.
He doesn't even get to.
縛りプレイしてます僕はブーツを買わないでスキルを避ける練習
I'm still remembering back to the Shy outplaying a 1v2 and then walking
こ
back
れ
to
もしソロ中で
Ono is
あ
going to get
大
charged.
丈夫か
Decent amount of damage, but
いや
he
育っ
is
た
very far ahead.
育った
And
ノ
will
ク
just
タ
be
硬
able
す
to
ぎる
wander his way out.
And the problem for me
こう
now
いう
is
試合
that
でソロ中で
reactively
トッ
the
プ
Weibo
レーク
bomb
が味方に
individually
金
they
立
can
たれ
pick
るの
off very
本当に
well,
許せない
but if you don't get to the objective first, it becomes very hard to contest.
僕
Right
も
now,
こういう
that's
の
not the
結
case.
構たかれますけど
Definitely not there first. The Baron is down very,
どうしようもないものはどうしようもない
There's the paranoia as they look to try and burst down the Baron. They do collect it, and now
いや
Ajax ultimate comes through
い
from
やバロンチェックも当然できず
He's taken matters into his
いや
own
グエンさん強すぎますこの人
Which way he has to run away. He gets
これソロ級だったらダーダックのグエン育てたのってエイトロックスが怒られてます
Golden does have to flash as Light's doing a fair bit of work. with these Rens into the back line. But T1 just
バウン取って犠牲者ゼロ。
Gwen truly is immune. Zeus doesn't care, dives into multiple
これドレイブン3個はできてる。とんでもないですよ。
And this is
パ
where
ワ
I
ー。
think you really see the goal difference. Weibo get close in a couple of situations, get some
グマイ
health
シ
bars
まだ
low.
ブーツ買わ
And if
ず。
they had items that might have been enough, but instead they just had to
ド
watch
レイブ
T1
ン
walk it off.
超強力な
The
ハード
only thing
CC
invested
持ってますから
is a
ね。
flash and a stopwatch from Faker.
ドレイブンのリーの性能すさまじいです。敵貫通するし射程も長いし。
By the time he's out of CC, the Baron is already gone, and Zeus is running rampant in the back line. T1 just getting further and further ahead. Guma still doesn't even have boots, by the
これ
way.
グマイシ本当にブーツ買わないまま行くのか。
Okay, yep, Kamushi just having a good time, and he knows that he is not the main character necessarily. He's just been able to sit back.
It's because it's the Cloud Drakes!
And
He doesn't need boots!
Oh, that is true! Everyone's Cassiopeia on T1 now. Be prepared. Everybody else actually bought boots, though, which is a little bit of a shame, not making up for it. The Rebel
ド
Baron
レイ
power
ブン
play
はすごい
already.
強いですね、このチャンピオン。
That's actually cool that I looked up at the top there when
スタックが溜まるとウルトの処刑ラインが強くなる。
potential soul point for both teams.
300スタックドレイブン。
10,000 gold lead though, or at least very, very close. Should be able to grab advantage and secure that for themselves.
And this is the problem. Once you fall behind against a 1-for-1 comp with a Nocturne, like, what do? If you try to collapse, Nocturne presses R, you don't know how many people are coming, you don't know how many people are responding, and T1, they're looking for more.
Yep, Shahu already taking a bit of poke damage. Light will turn up. As 4 members are here, teleport event.
バトル開始ノクターンのウルトスタート。状況が何もわかりません。グエン強すぎ。
Just by himself destroying everyone.
なんだこの最強チャンピオン。ゴーストで止まらないんですけど。あいやー。マジ。ちょっと。ちょっと聞いてないぞ、ここまで強いのは。決勝戦だからもう少し実行するかと思ったのに。あいやー。ジジーン。
And by the end of that game,